Okay, the White House just gave you a raise of $1,000 this year. That's right. You don't even know it, do you? Actually, the White House Obama budget just came out, and this year, looking at the data in the budget, it shows the average family is going to get $22,996. That's the average family is going to get that in free government money that's given out and all kinds of programs. These are not grants mostly. They're direct payments right to people to do things, whether it's training for jobs or paying health care, all this kind of getting education or putting on a new roof, all this kind of stuff. And these programs are they're not even called grants. That's why they're hard to find. But more importantly, it's growing. It's growing, actually. It grew over 5.5% from last year. So, inflation was like zero. So they're giving more money now to individuals than they have ever before. It grew over last year, and it's going to grow again next year. The projection for 2016 is another $1,000 increase in addition to the $1,000 increase this year. So this year you get an extra $1,000, and on top of that you get an extra $1,000 after that. It's just amazing. People in this town will complain about budget cuts and the government's disappearing and everything. Man, I've been studying this stuff for 30, 40 years. I have yet to see a budget shrink. It grows every year, no matter who's in charge, Republicans, Democrats, both, or whatever. It just keeps growing. That's the nature of the beast, and that's really why we're in problems. We spend money on new problems and don't get rid of the money that is not needed anymore for old problems, because that becomes institutionalized, and that's too bad. But remember, it's important that these programs are there, and this is all the individual money that goes to individuals. And you can see this by going to whitehouse.gov/OMB/budget. So whitehouse.gov/OMB, /OMB/overview. That's the place, because you'll see the whole thing and you get a whole list. So that's whitehouse.gov/OMB/overview. See other things like Obama's proposal for 2 years colleges for free. So that means you get 2 years of training or college for free, nada. And a lot of people say, well, that's not going to happen because of Republicans. Well, I think that has a better chance of happening than most people think, because of where we are in a country now. The United States is always thought of as a land of opportunity and the American dream. Well, you can't get the American dream without education anymore. So that's why something like this is important, and people are starting to realize that. Also, it's a way to attack the income inequality. You could earn more money if you have more education and skills and things like that. So it's not only college, it's training. So you just need 6 months, a year or two to learn how to be an engineer of some kind, or a healthcare technician or something. All that will be free. Also, there are developed countries now, for a long time, that had all college for free, like Germany and France. Man, who you are, you go for free. We never even mentioned those kinds of things. So we're a little behind the 8 ball there. And student loan debt is bigger than it ever has. So it's a major problem. It's bigger than credit card debt. Remember when everybody is in credit card debt? Well, now student loan debt is actually bigger, and that's happening. So why is that happening? Why is student loan debt? Because the cost of college increased 300% over the last 30 years. Now that's allowing for inflation. So the same college, now if you went back 30 years ago, would cost you 3 times more. So if it was $10,000, it's now $30,000 for the same thing in 1973 dollars. This is what's happening. And it's a pity, because this is what it costs. This is where our money's going, unfortunately. And also, so that's why we have to attack that problem of the rise in college cost. We can't, so in 10 more, 20 more years, it's going to be, double that or triple that again. That's crazy. We'll be paying more than that on mortgage or anything else in our life will be college, and that's crazy. Also, the other politicians are starting to see that it's a way, to get votes, actually, but to solve problems like that, like Cuomo up in the state of New York. He has a program that will pay, he just introduced it, it's going through the legislature now, that will pay for your student debt for 2 years if when you graduate from college, you don't get a salary paying $50,000 or more. They'll take over the 2 years of your college loans, the first 2 years, and just rip up the paper. You go, don't worry, you're only making $49,000, and we'll pay for it. You know, and I could see people taking advantage. I mean, like, unfortunately, we abuse so many systems, you know, that are there for good, and people abuse it. I mean, if you're a rich family, you'll get a college loan because you can, and then your kid who's an art major sure as heck isn't going to make 50 grand when he graduates. So we'll just rip up the loans, you know, because that's the deal, you know. So there's I think when we do things like this, we have to put in safeguards for the people who take advantage. I mean, I sort of see that capitalism will rear its ugly head, and so. And so we're clever, you know, as capitalists, right? We always find a way to do something better, cheaper, take advantage of the system. That's what capital's all about, right? And so we'll figure that out too, you know, if that program starts. So it's something to be very careful about. And that's why on the downside of giving all the money for colleges, I mean, the community colleges may start doing the same. Because now four-year colleges say, hey, come to my college, right? And they say, all you do is get a student loan, you know, and if you default, the government will pay for it. Don't worry, I get the money. The college gets the money no matter what happens to you. You have to pay, you know, the government back, but the college already has the money. So they're out shanghaiing people to come to their college. So you get government money to come to their college, and then you got to pay the money back, and they already got the money. Yeah, and like these for-profit universities get 90% of their money that way. Yeah, from government loan money. And so that's why I think the tuitions went up so high, is because everybody was paying. Sort of like healthcare. Why is healthcare? You and I go to the doctor, we have no idea what it costs. Yeah, sure, somebody else is paying for it. So in college, the same way. You know, hey, come to my college. Somebody else will pay for it. Don't worry about it. And that could happen now to junior colleges. You know, the community colleges, which are so reasonable, you know, and they may get like, you know, the big colleges now are spending so much money on, you know, healthcare clubs on campus and discos and, you know, dorms that look like, you know, luxurious condos and all this stuff to attract customers, right? They're trying to attract customers and suck them in, so then they borrow money to give to the college right away, and then the kid has to worry about paying it back. So that could happen to the community college too in a program like this. So we have to put in safeguards for something like this so that doesn't start abusing the system. I mean, to me, that's what happened to the housing system. You know, we had the government pay off your mortgage if you couldn't pay. So the bank and everybody, hey, yeah, buy a house, go get it, you know, we don't care, you know, we'll give you money, because they sold the money. They didn't have to worry about it after you got the loan. And if you've defaulted, the government would take care of it, you know, which is a crazy system. But that's the downside, you know, and that's why if your safeguards put in there, so that stuff like that doesn't happen. Now, another thing in the budget that is interesting is what Obama's spending on health care for children, not health care, early childhood development. I mean, that to me is where we should be, you know, investing a lot of money. I mean, for two reasons. One, I mean, the data show that 90% of a person's brain is developed by, you know, before they go to school. That's 90%. So why are we paying college professors hundreds of thousands of dollars and childcare people minimum wage, you know? That's the most important. That's how the kid's going to grow, you know. And now child care development, I mean, child care could run just for an infant like $5,000 to $15,000. So you have an infant, you know, and you got to take care of that person, and have good people take care of it. It costs $15,000. How are you going to do that? You're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you got to get $15,000 after-tax money. That means you have to make, you know, not only like $25,000 or whatever to get that $15,000. Man, just for childcare. So it's nuts, you know. And childcare is so important, you know, because every dollar they say that it's invested in early childhood development returns to the society $7 to $14. Because this is less you have to put into, you know, prisons and you know, all those other problems that people have in life because they weren't nurtured well enough, you know, as a young person. So now we're trying to figure out, well, you get a job, you need that higher education, but really to start off in life and have less problems as society, it seems like taking care of the very young people, early childhood development becomes very important. And so all that kind of data, I'm going to talk about more about this stuff as we go along because it's important. And see, there's opportunities where the money's going. They're spending more money in the government. That means it goes out, creates jobs, creates opportunity, creates money to do other things in life. So you got to watch that stuff. You don't have to be a Washington lobbyist to do that either. So to find out all about it, it's whitehouse.gov/OMB/overview. whitehouse.gov/OMB/overview. That's right, overview. So this is where your money going. And just for the free money that's going out, to everybody, that's, what is it, $24,000 next year. It's $23,000 this year. Next year will be $24,000. So you got to learn more of that stuff is, because that's how much going out. The average per family in the USA. Isn't America great?